Hello, everyone, and welcome to Griplock, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor and Konner.
Hello, my Hunt.
We got some, it's the off-season. You know how it be. We got some off-season movement. We have UC Discmania's sales data.
Oh,
very fun to run through.
Wow, money.
Yes, title.
Jeff Spring went on a non-disc golf podcast, so I listened to that and took some notes from there.
Very studious.
And then we also have Edwin Stats highlight of the week.
Even more studious.
Ooh,
So we got a lot of stuff to get through. So before we do that, let's take a moment to thank our sponsor. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA, head to BetOnline today and get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here.
You want to know something really funny?
What?
Tell me
Related to
something really
BetOnline,
funny.
our sponsor. I have not really every week, not every week. Every once in a while, I'll throw in like a little parlay, like a few bucks to try and turn into 100.
It was only the way you were communicating it.
It
was only the way you were saying
realization of it's okay. We'll have an intervention.
You guys know it's only free money, right?
Yes.
Okay, just so you're aware, it's not my actual money.
You just described it as every week you threw a few dollars at a parlay.
I was trying to make it sound relatable to the audience, but I only used it. It's a long story, but it's free. It's not. I don't. Anyways,
Trevor, it was just the way you were saying
I know
it.
it made me sound like a gambling addict. I know. That's why I was trying to
It
explain.
was like you were trying to downplay it.
Well, that's
It's only a few bucks.
I was
It's a few
trying
bucks and one
I was
parlay
trying
every
to explain
weekend.
it in a relatable way and not mention that it was like free money, but then I was like, well, that just makes me sound like an addict because I'm doing it all the time. But it's because it's not. Anyways. But the funniest thing happened was I finally almost hit like a 7-leg parlay, and the one time that I decided, you know what, I'm just not going to lose this way, and I'm going to bet with the Chiefs, which is disgusting behavior. Being a Broncos fan, I admit. They didn't cover.
They did win though.
And I
Block that kick. Am I right?
Is he right, boys?
I don't want to talk about it. But I just
Before we
did.
get into the rest of the episode, though, I also want to take a moment to thank our Veterans Day today. Specifically, I want to thank two of them, Nate and Jason, both
Come
Foundation
on.
They be our
employees.
own fam.
So, yeah. If you are a veteran or an active duty service member, you can head over to foundationdisc.com, and if you scroll to the bottom, there's actually a spot where you can click, and basically it verifies your ID. You get to put in your military ID. There's also ones, I think, for like teachers and senior citizens, so on and so forth, and you can get a discount
That's pretty neato.
all year round. Some people don't know about that, but if you shop with us frequently, that can save you some money. So head over to foundationdisc.com. That's our way of saying thanks every day, but I wanted to shout it out today on Veterans Day. Off-season movement. Big move here. Huge.
I don't believe you.
It's not
He's gonna about to rock your world.
over the weekend, Konner O'Reilly announced.
What?
This is not a smiling matter either.
Konner
sorry.
O'Reilly announced he's no longer with Lone Star and is a free agent.
Dang it!
So we'll see where he
Wow.
ends up. I think the biggest value that Konner
I've
O'Reilly
got
provides,
$10,000 on him to go to Innova.
the biggest value he provides to a company is probably his YouTube channel. To be honest,
Is it
it's
still
not
popping?
super.
Does he have a YouTube channel?
He does, and he uploads frequently. It's not like
I like Konner O'Reilly
Yeah.
as a
I
personality.
like him too.
He's
He
also
came by the
a
booth one time, and I was
Good-looking
like, that's
guy.
a sweet guy.
Nice dude. Yeah. I like Konner O'Reilly.
yeah, his YouTube he uploads pretty frequently.
I think he's a
it's
good
not
vibes guy.
massive by any means, but for a company just like looking for something additional, he has like 6,000, 7,000 subscribers.
That'll do the trick.
Some of his videos get no views, but other ones do fine. Other
Hey,
ones
that's
do fine.
YouTube, man.
That's
Nice
YouTube.
guy. Nice
He's
guy.
in a slump.
Nice guy.
He's in a little bit of a slump right now.
He's a nice
we'll be
guy.
honest there, a little bit of a slump right now.
I think
Let's
he's a
boost
good
him up.
vibes guy.
But-
Let's boost him up.
Everybody go watch Konner O'Reilly video.
Go sub.
And comment, say, Foundation sent me.
If you don't think we care about the tour, what do you say now?
Yeah.
But in his
This
post,
guy does not care about
it
the tour.
definitely seemed like he didn't really have somewhere he was going currently, because he was asking like, what do you guys want to see me throw? I don't know if that's like alluding to I'm gonna throw a mixed bag, or if that's alluding to like if you say Innova and enough people say Innova, I can be like, hey, my fan base wants to see me throwing Innova. But yeah, no longer with Lone Star. So we'll see where he ends up. That was it's a slow week for off-season movement. Konner just punched his mic.
Sorry about that.
But so we'll see what happens next. But
What's going to happen with Lone Star?
I can't believe
it.
it.
Do you think they're going to kind of fall apart?
well,
It
we do
seems
have to
like they kinda
remember
are.
that they aren't just a disc company.
They aren't?
No.
No,
Disc
what
is
are
just
they?
like they're like an oil something.
Yeah,
Oil?
they already were in the plastic manufacturing. Like, I know for a fact that they are making seats for like tractors or something, or like they're
sick.
No, they do other plastic manufacturing. This was definitely a side thing, and I think
I always have heard them reference with oil money. So I don't know what that means.
They might make stuff for oil rigs, maybe. I don't know. But in any case, yeah, they were already doing other things.
They should name all their discs off of fracking equipment.
Well, they got
Watch your mouth.
They got into the disc golf business when it was booming, obviously. So it probably seemed like, ooh, this is a fun like get rich quick. And I think there was also like one of the sons of the owners maybe helped kind of head that up. But what it's turned into was, oh, we're not making money anymore. So they like hired really fast, and now they're firing really fast.
Yeah,
because like left.
If they hired anything like how they accepted people on their Ranger team, then they probably had way too many people.
Because at this point, I don't know that anybody is going to want to sign with them. I mean, even some of these pros that are probably just looking around for stuff after all the bad press they've gotten, because they still have Burridge, right?
Yes, I do believe so.
I think Burridge is just kind of like their guy,
see, this says,
and then Nico's there for now, I guess.
I just did a quick Googling, and I found an article that says Lone Star Disc is a spinoff from Conroe's family oil field. So there's oil somewhere, but regardless, what I was basically trying to say,
there is money in those
avocado
fields. Just keep digging. Avocado oil.
Yeah.
Conroe Fields, an elliptical safe oil producing area in South Central. I don't know.
I'm going to start a company.
But regardless, that's what I'd always heard is like they don't need the discs. So it's basically whenever they're sick of it.
That's why I'm surprised they're still in it. I think we should start an oil company, but it's like
that's hard
a
to
food
do.
oil.
Oh, okay.
So that we can just say, yeah, well, like people will be like, well, yeah, he's got oil money. Like he comes from oil.
Yeah.
And it's like they're just like we sell
avocado.
avocado
it's
oil,
just like sunflower
like in a
oil.
stand at the farmer's market, but we got oil money.
No, you just need to sell one bottle. I'll buy it from you of canola oil.
I've got oil money.
And then you never spend it. So you can always just be like, well, don't worry. You know what,
I can always use the oil money.
If I really want it, I got oil money.
Yeah, I can always dig into the oil money.
I got like an envelope with $5
it's like
in
$5
it.
in
That's
it.
my oil money.
Yeah. You're
That's
like,
funny.
You know, I'm not going to use it today, but like, guys, I could totally afford it. I got oil money.
Yeah.
That's a funny bit.
If
Can
crap
always
hits
fall
the
back
fan,
on the oil
if
money.
crap hits the fan, I'll just dig into my oil money.
Yeah. Might have to dig into the oil money.
We should let's all sell each other one bottle of canola oil.
I like that.
It's in a circle.
If I've got oil money, I might start laughing a little different. That kind of that kind of wealthy laugh.
Just kind of the laugh where like I don't really have anything to worry about.
Yeah, like oh yes, yeah, I've got oil money. And then we just need
That's funny.
That's just what we'll do and then we can all buy like little toy boats, and we'll be like, we also have boats as well. So we'll be like, yeah, like I took the boat out, and it's really just like I gave it to my son in the bathtub. Like we took the boat out last weekend.
Well, we had the boat out over the weekend, and
yeah,
man, Connor's laugh did change.
Yeah.
Now,
that was talking Lone Star.
Speaking of money, basically 2023.
Let's talk about a guy that really has money.
Yeah, in Finland, Sweden, a lot of countries over there basically release the like tax data every year. So
heck yeah.
A lot of people run through like LLCs or stuff like that to where like you don't see the money, but Jussi Maresma decided not to. He just took it, which is the same thing. But
could you imagine the U.S. doing something like that with all the shady businesses goes down?
What it allowed to do is basically it got published to the 2023 like earnings on tax return information, so people could see how much Discmania sold for, essentially. Now there is some like. You don't know the exact number because it doesn't say Discmania sale for this. You just see how much money Jussi Maresma made.
True. That is actually, because we were talking about this before, and that is a little deceptive because like we do not know.
But you know what he was making previously.
Well, do you have that number?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There's two types of income in Finland, really anywhere, but there's like earned income and capital income.
Oh, okay. They separated it.
His earned income previously, he was making like $600,000 from Discmania a year, something like that. But then in 2023, it went down to like $20,000 because his capital income was basically $16 million.
Wow.
That was his portion of Discmania.
Buy a new car.
The CEO at the time seemingly also made over $2 million from the sale. So rough numbers, because you don't know if there was anyone else in it, roughly Discmania sold for close to $20 million is what this should mean.
Which is insane.
Which is ludicrous. Yeah. So
what are we doing?
In 2023, Discmania was bought for nearly $20 million. If, again, assuming that is what this Jussi Maresma and the CEO at the time, where their millions came from in the same year that Discmania was bought. Not a jump to assume that, but you do have to make a little bit of an assumption. The other numbers we do know is Discmania did $30 million in sales in 2022, according to an article that I translated because everything was in Finnish. And it seemed it was also either in addition to or this made up part of it, $14 million in revenue from Spin TV, which is the European like Discmania brand. So Discmania Inc. is the USA branch. Spin TV, or it might be called Spin 18, but that
Spin 18.
They own kind of like Discmania Europe. They own Spin TV, yada yada yada. So 14 million was that. So I don't know if that means this was again in Finnish, so it was very broken to me. I don't know if that means 44 million in 2022 or if 16 million was Discmania Inc. This is what I'm assuming: 16 million Discmania Inc., 14 million Discmania Europe, basically. Okay. Regardless. 30 million at least in 2022 was their sales, insane. Which makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah, because if you go,
what mold like?
Sorry, the sale number is very high, but the sold for number makes sense. Is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, that's what their sales were. Absolutely, but that's crazy to me because I'd have to go back and look, but I feel like 2022 is like peak. Discmania is like trying to dig themselves out of the proverbial grave, but maybe those Evolution and Active Line sales were a lot better than they let on. So when I was talking to Jussi, gosh, whenever I interviewed him around that time probably, he talked about how they basically almost like they were just barely kept afloat by trying to find other companies to make them discs because Innova couldn't or wouldn't anymore.
Well, when did the Discmania New Originals line launch?
That's what I'm curious is like, what was the first one? Was it the MD3? Was that was like close to first, right?
I believe so. I'm trying to see if this is the original article. Like now we're reinventing them. Yes, let's see when this article
when did the
posted.
teaser come out for Italian Blend?
Do they not have this?
The FD was like one of the first ones. Yeah, what's the date of that video?
Yeah, because we might just have our timeline off.
That's what. Yeah, those.
This is posted 3 years. 2021 is when their new stuff. They started remaking their own stuff. Okay. So it was a year before the 2022 sales.
Okay.
So 2022 would have been they were releasing new molds and they were making their own stuff.
Wow, that just puts a lot into perspective.
Now we can look at sales data from because what we also know is Dynamic Discs sold around that same time, right? To House of Discs. Both these were to House of Discs. Obviously, in the U.S., we don't have any of that data of how much Jeremy Rusko sold and all that. But if we look at the data that we have available from that same time range, it's fair to assume, in my opinion, that Dynamic Disc purchase would have been around a similar value or possibly higher because they were in the U.S. moving similar numbers of plastic. Just Dynamic Discs brand at retailers and Discmania brand at retailers, they were both making up close to 4% of sales, it looked like from the numbers I could find. But when you take up, like, surely Dynamic's not doing as much in Europe as Discmania, but you have to factor in Dynamic Disc was doing a lot of distribution, i.e. if we want to go buy a Latitude 64 disc, we bought it at that time through Dynamic Distribution, which is now called Disc Golf Distribution, I think. But at that time, you're going to Dynamic Disc's website and buying all of your Trilogy plastic there. So I'm saying, I'm assuming that probably made up a decent chunk of what Discmania is doing in Europe.
Yeah, that's crazy. So Rusko definitely made it back.
It has to be in the range of $10 to $20 million is what Dynamic Disc would have sold for. Now, both Rusko and Jussi reinvested into House of Discs. That number's not public to get on the board. So Jussi and Rusko are still involved in the driving the ship. But I mean, I don't know about you at home, but these numbers are a lot bigger, the sales number and stuff, than I would have expected at the time.
That is crazy.
I just we saw it with the player contracts, but seeing it on like the business side of things, like these numbers were so insane during like a 3-year period in our sport, like 2.5, 3 years. Like, I don't even know. Now, obviously, there are certain companies right now that if they were to be bought, they'd be bought for a lot more than that, like an Innova or Discraft, like, of course.
Absolutely.
But considering they probably will not be, like, who knows when the next time we'll see the number 16 million like thrown around in our sport. Like, there are just numbers that are going to come out of that period of time that we might not see for 15 or 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it was an insane thing.
Now, obviously, you don't know at the time what was going through Jussi's head, but props to him for selling. I mean, he sold at the absolute peak.
Oh, yeah. No, that was...
Like, if he would have been like, give me a year to think about it, that number might have been $7 million.
There was a lot of people who, like, I think, obviously, Dynamic Disc, what's interesting is Dynamic, it has as a company that is now being very much scrutinized for probably way overdoing it during the boom of disc golf that happened, and now having to face the consequences of that. But the sale almost points to the idea that Rusko saw the writing on the wall and was like, now is the time. Like, this is not going to last. So
Possibly.
Like that to me is
what I'm
interesting.
saying is it's interesting.
But he did. Now both of them allegedly reinvested some of their money back in, but like,
what does that mean?
Exactly. Well, and we had initially, if we're thinking, okay, they made maybe 5 or 6 mil, if they put like $1 million back in, that's a huge deal. If you made 16 mil and you're like, yeah, I'll throw a couple million back into this thing that probably won't depreciate that much at worst case. Yeah, that's not too hard to do.
Konner just refused to, he just kept throwing his disc and just keeps hitting the mic.
I'm spinning it.
You can spin it, just mute your mic. But no, I mean, props to both of them. Now, I think UC,
would you say they decided to reinvest their game?
They reinvested their game,
Reinvest your game.
I think UC had to pay like $5 million, if I remember correctly, in tax. So his number 2, his bank account's like $10 million. But yeah, I'm on the same page as you of like, I expected the sale number to be closer. If I would have thrown a gut check out their estimate, it would have been between 5 to 10 million of what UC would have got.
Yeah.
So to see that be 16 million, now I'm in the same boat of like, if you got 7 million in, you pay your taxes and stuff, you have like 5 million left, you throw $1 million into House of Disc, like, yeah, you still have $4 million, but it's like you just threw 20% of your investment back into House of Disc.
I thought it was interesting on Facebook. There was a lot of people, and obviously a heavy amount of Europeans like commenting like, wow, shout out to UC for like paying his taxes straight up, not like channeling it through an LLC or anything like that. And I was like, I wonder if that's a European thing where like people are like actually like kind of praised for like paying taxes, because like in the US I feel like a lot of people are mostly trying to get their taxes away from the government because they don't trust the government with tax money.
Well, it depends on which side of the fence you're sitting
on. I just say I don't know that you ever see a post where somebody's like, dude, good on you for paying those taxes.
You do quite a bit. Well, you see mainly you see mainly screw that guy for avoiding paying his taxes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I see that one, but that you never, you don't ever see like
because most
somebody
of the time,
does it, and you
most of the time if someone's that rich, they're not paying. They're not doing it.
Right, yeah.
So that's why you don't see that post.
I don't know. I just thought that was
We're gonna
funny.
get off of that topic and move on to another interesting one that goes kind of along this, because obviously they sold at the peak and stuff came down, and there's a lot of like specifically within House of Discs, but also you have Prodigy and Lone Star over the last year that have some red flags going on in regards to the disc golf market as a whole. And so it's kind of refreshing to listen to Jeff Spring talk to a non-disc golfer and answer some of the questions. First thing he said is this podcast came out, I believe, I saw it on LinkedIn like yesterday or 2 days ago. No, that's not true because I listened to it Saturday morning. So I must have saw it on Friday on LinkedIn. So I don't know if that's when the podcast came out, but that's when I saw the podcast person post with Jeff Spring share it. So I'm assuming it came out like last week, meaning it was filmed pretty recently. You can also hear when he's talking about like the Q series finales in a few weeks. So it's definitely filmed like this time of year. And he confirms the 50,000 subscriber number on DGN, meaning there hasn't been a like mass exodus of DGN over the course of this year, which I was wondering if there would have been, just, as money gets tighter,
it's mostly
as you
prices.
look at your subscriptions and you're like, I got Netflix, I got Hulu, and I'm paying the same for DGN. I didn't know if that's going to be one of the ones that a lot of people left. 50,000 subscribers on DGN, that's still a very strong number.
I think retention does make sense for DGN, because I don't know that it's really, especially where their price point is now, it's not really a casual subscribe. It's not a $2, $3, $5 even, where you just like, it is enough of a price that you're committing to it. And like, if you're somebody who wants to pay that to watch disc golf, things have to get pretty tight for you to then take that out of your butt. It's not something you would just like probably fall off of. So I do feel like for them, like their product has been the same. They're delivering the same amount of disc golf, and I think they're doing fine with it. So like I don't expect there to be a massive drop off on their subscribers.
Well, people who are kind of into disc golf wouldn't sign
exactly.
up for
They
it
would
to
just watch
begin
on
with.
Show Match.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. I feel like once you get a DGN customer, you've got probably a pretty good compared to other subscription services retention on that customer.
Yeah.
Now the next one he said, the more I was thinking about this over this weekend, I was like, surely I misheard. But what I heard was that DGN or Disc Golf Pro Tour has 60 employees and 40 contractors. I'm assuming I surely misheard that and it was 16 employees. and 40
Well, I
contractors.
mean, that's a pretty big. We gotta figure it out.
But the problem was I was listening to it on a run, so I don't know in that whole podcast at what point he said that. Because I just listened to it on a run and then wrote my notes down after the run.
Title of this podcast.
So
DGPT has 60.
I'm going to lean
don't have
towards
60.
16.
Yeah, they definitely.
I'm thinking he said 16 employees, 40 contractors, because that makes sense to me. 16 employees.
Yeah, I think the good news is we can pretty easily write off 60 because
Well, yeah, when I wrote
way.
it and I looked back at it, I was like, they got 100 total people they're paying out there. Like, surely that's not true. But if it is true, at least there's an easy way for them to cut costs, cut prices.
Yeah,
you don't need 60 employees to do what's going on.
Because, like, I
but
mean,
16 makes sense.
How many do they even have listed in their directory?
That's the other thing is I was like, I've talked to a lot of Pro Tour employees. There's no shot I've only talked to like 10% of them.
Yeah, and also, yeah, I would say if you go to a Pro Tour event, if they had 60 employees and 40 contractors, they'd almost outnumber the gallery.
how I was interpreting the contractors is there's a cameraman that works in California,
Right.
and we have to hire a different one to work in
That's
Vermont.
probably just their list.
You know what I'm saying? It's like they have 40 contractors, which that makes sense to me. It's like you're using, maybe there's 8 to 10 at an event.
Yeah.
And you're rotating through like 5 different regions, and that's how you
Yeah.
get to 40. I don't think they're paying 40 at once, because if they were, they'd probably be employees. So 16 employees makes a lot more sense to me, but I can't confirm that number because I heard 60.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something there. The exciting thing that came out of this was he said that they're working towards sports betting next year.
What does that mean?
He said from how he was talking and the language he was using is they're hoping to be listed in certain states next year.
Wow. Listed. Interesting.
So they're definitely working. I don't know which sports book they're working with to do that, but time will tell.
Dude, that's going to be the Wild West.
And this makes more sense to me. He did say that like that was a big move for them with AWS, which is, remember that whole big announcement they made last year? We were like, so you switched from one backend server to another backend server. Why the frick does the user care?
Yeah.
And they were doing all these extra. Apparently, AWS was big in their like stat keeping and like solidifying or legitimizing their statistics for sports books.
Yeah.
So that seems like that was a bigger move.
That the sports betting thing is super interesting because, for starters, like it or not, I mean, this is where the sports industry is headed recently, and because there is, I mean, I forget the total figure, but it's, I believe, hundreds of billions of dollars industry. The sports betting industry is. So, however they're able to monetize this, and that's where I'd be most curious, because if you have your own, there are so many different laws and regulations involving sports betting. I don't know how a sport monetizes, but I know they all make a ton of money off of it, and so, if they were able to really utilize it, I mean, there's no telling what that could do for the Pro Tour as far as finances. The question is, where are they going to get it listed? How are they going to go about that? And who's going to make the lines? Is it going to be our in-house people with these books? Because they, that's what they do. In Vegas, these sports books, they have line makers. Are they just going to be, they're experts? Or are they just going to be assigned to disc golf? And we'll see how that goes. The last time disc golf kind of had its run-in with sports betting, people kind of took it for all it was worth. The lines were not expertly made. So,
but it seemed like last time that was Prize Picks, and it seems like last time that they were kind of independently doing it.
Yeah.
Whereas now the Pro Tour has been building statistic data that they can feed someone, and because last time there were some criminal lines. Whether it be like, I'm not touching that 10-foot pole, or it's like, that's the easiest line.
Here's the kicker, and this is actually what makes it different, is Prize Picks' entire model was overs and unders.
Yeah.
That was way harder to do. I mean, if you and I took this year and the way we were setting it was just based on
pick the winner,
it would have been very easy. We knew, I mean, there would have been a couple huge hits, the Presnell, right? Like things like that. But most of the year would have been Gannon would have been minus like 1,000, and he would have won, and it would have been no big deal. So like I do think if you do it that way, it won't be that hard to set lines.
No, I fully agree.
Because the product is pretty consistent. The Kristen Tatars of the world, the Missy Gannons, they're going to win most of the events.
Yeah. But the other thing he was talking about why he thinks it'll be big, and I fully agree with this one too, is there's just so many people in the sports betting world that it will get people into watching disc golf just because it's another thing to bet on, especially when disc golf happens. There's not a lot of sports going on. So people are just looking for stuff, throughout the summer. You have the NBA finals, and pretty much it's just baseball we're competing with for that middle stretch before football kicks back up.
There is a little stretch there.
You have like golf,
from like
tennis,
end of
baseball.
June until football starts up in August, and you're just basically fighting against baseball, the dog days of summer, if you will. But
so I think, because that's what he was saying.
I didn't think about that. That's a good thought.
As it gets listed, that's going to be a growth avenue for the sport as well, not just monetarily, but also just interest in watching disc golf. Because I've thrown a few dollars at a Super Bowl before when I do not care, but all of a sudden you care. You put $5 on the Chiefs, and you're just sitting there on the edge of your seat because you're like, if they win, I get $5.05.
That's going to be the very interesting thing to watch next year, because when they announced that, I thought it sounded really ambitious, and I was kind of like, okay, maybe we'll see that in the next 5 years. I'm really surprised to hear that he threw out something as much as like, we're hoping to have it listed some places in some states next year.
Yeah, he said they're working towards next year.
Like that's honestly insane. Oh, man, it better be in Virginia. Come on, Jeff, come through. But that to me seems really accelerated for a tour that took like almost the entire year to have a live scoring system set up.
Yeah, but maybe part of the reason of that is they wanted to have the back end so solidified that it could be used. I don't know.
Pro Tour stand.
the final thing is, from the beginning, I've said the Pro Tour seems to move slowly but intentionally.
They do. They do.
And there's been some things that have made me waver from that, but for the most part, when they make a move, it sometimes is like, I don't understand why this is taking so long, and then it like comes to fruition and seems to make sense.
Yeah.
Maybe this is one of them. I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
The other thing that he said that was kind of refreshing in the current disc golf climate was the guy was asking about the growth of disc golf, and he talked about the boom, obviously, and he's like, and then he slowed down and stalled, and he said, and now we're seeing, just like we were pre-COVID, that like 15 to 20% year-over-year growth rate. He's like,
people
we're just back to normal.
I say people forget that disc golf, regardless of a boom, was still a steadily growing sport, and will continue to be because of it. As long as people are trying, the courses are still going to go in more and more. There are still going to be new players because it's so accessible. Disc golf is set up to succeed in a lot of ways, and I think that some people we're not going to be on NBC in prime time in 10 years, but the sport is going to continue to grow.
He called it, Jeff referred, I think he called it the golf of the next generation. That's how he sold disc golf to the guy. But
that's a bit ambitious, but
you got to dream big.
Yeah,
you got to dream big.
Listen, he's the commissioner. You gotta talk that way.
But no, I think as fans, we can hear the like House of Disc and Dynamic Disc layoff and so on and so forth, and you can even see like tournaments not being as full as they were a few years ago, and people just think disc golf's dying or disc golf's going to die. Disc golf would take pretty much, in my opinion, probably twice as long as the history of the sport for it to actually die.
Yeah, because there's just so many courses.
It's so rooted now at this point where like think of what disc golf actually dying would mean. Like manufacturers
would just
have to go
stop playing,
out of business.
Yeah,
like everything would have to stop. Courses would have to be ripped out of the ground. Like that doesn't make logical sense.
Yeah, I mean we're still in sporting goods stores all across the country.
And to hear, because we've felt it this year of, hey, the sport's still growing, and as a media outlet that has a grasp on when people first get into the sport, a lot of times they find foundation. We've had a solid year to where to hear someone else in the sport talk about like, hey guys, the sport's still growing. It just is refreshing because you hear
we're not crazy.
You hear some of the companies that just overbet on themselves.
That's all it is. It's just the dust settling. Yeah.
Got themselves into debt over their head. They are struggling to just get back to, hey, we thought we were going to be operating at X line when we're actually operating at X line, and there's margin between that.
Yeah.
And we have to find a way to close that so we can still survive and thrive. So there will be, as the dust settles, there will be some companies, and we said this in 2020, like a manufacturer is going out of business. We predicted it multiple times because it just people started throwing money around like this was going to last forever, and it just wasn't. So now we're just seeing that happen.
Yeah, it's tough to say where we're at in the time, like because things didn't slow down until it wasn't it still wasn't that far back that things started slowing down as far as like the boom of disc golf once again, and it's hard to tell where we're on in that timeline of like everything finding the new normal. I don't know if it'll be a year from now you'll stop hearing stories about companies going out of business, or if it'll be 3 years from now. But at one point it will, and then it'll probably remain that way until something else and some other crazy event happens. Yeah. Like it's just going to take a while for it to find its feet, and it just depends on those companies that did get themselves in trouble by overbetting. How long will it take them to either go out or quit?
Yeah.
Like that's basically what it'll come down to.
So, all right, well, it's time for the fan favorite segment of Trevor's Trivia right after these messages.
Bum ba dum bum bum. Trevor's trivia.
Okay, lads. Here's the deal. I've got a fun one for us today.
Triviate me, Trev.
Don't call me lad.
Oh.
I'm so sorry. No, seriously. So
And don't call me seriously.
Oh, Shirley.
today's
You can call me
segment is
Shirley.
called
Oh.
"Which Hole is Longer?"
Okay.
That's it.
I
love
understand.
it.
So here's how it works, though.
No, you
I
don't
think I
explain
get
I'm
it,
ready.
yeah.
Well, but yeah, I think you get the rules, but let me explain kind of the twist, if you will, or the premise. The idea is I've taken iconic holes
Uh-oh.
that you as listeners. These are all ones that we'll all know.
Okay.
To be clear, and then I've pitted them against holes that are from our area.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's fun, Trev.
So it'll be fun because you'll get to visualize them both, but then it's like, which one is actually a longer hole?
Are these like
And-
did you like Bushnell certify all these distances, or were you just
Yeah.
going keypad?
I picked ones. They were all from the U disc, but obviously I
Oh.
picked
Did you
ones.
scout certify
We're
all
trusting
these?
big GPS.
Well, I mean, it's on both directions. But I
just
picked
kidding,
ones
Trev.
that felt like because there are some holes that are definitely traps. But I picked ones I felt like
Which
had
hole is longer?
realistic-
Can you hit us with that?
No,
I really
kinda
liked it
done
whenever
with
you did
now.
that.
I can't.
Travis is done
Nobody
with that.
liked it.
Or Trent.
Which hole is longer?
Trent's done with
What
that.
do you
He
mean
calls me that all
nobody?
the time.
What do you
Yeah.
mean by nobody liked
Nobody
it?
liked that.
Whenever you say something like that, what do you mean? Where do you get
Literally
that
nothing.
from?
I didn't get it.
Okay.
Okay, first one. So I got 6 of these. First one.
Yep.
Hole 17 at USDGC
Okay.
I know of it.
or Peaks View
Hole 3.
Hole 1 short baskets. Which one is longer?
I'm ready.
Which pin? At
Are we working
USDGC
together?
17.
This is the final day pin.
Are we working together?
No, this is a competition.
I'm ready. Is it my turn?
I think I'm ready.
You guys are going to, you guys can say at the, so we'll just say USDGC hole 17 is option 1. Peaks View hole 1 is option 2.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
3, you're saying which one is longer?
Which one's longer?
2, 1.
Option
2.
1.
So you're saying
I think USDGC is longer.
I think
you're
that
saying
Peaks View is longer.
Peaks View hole 1 of the short is longer.
If I can get to
USDGC hole 17 is
Oh, he's downhill, though.
249 feet.
Dang it. Hole 1 Peaks longer.
Hole 1 at Peaks is 260 feet.
Yeah, baby.
Connor's up 1-0.
I knew Peaks Views was 260 because I make the joke every time of like every hole is like 250 or 260. I thought USDGC was 286. That number was in my head.
I just know what
That is a
what's like
sneaky
feels
short
like to throw.
249.
I just know what it feels like to throw a forehand on each one. That's why I said that. But you got a low ceiling on one, so I just went with my gut.
So
Your gut was right.
I got a beautiful gut.
You got some active bacteria in that thing?
Oh yes, I
very
do.
much, very much.
Kombucha.
So
No wonder. Mine's
here's the
dead.
Here's the next one. We got hole 1 at Ivy Hill,
I know of it.
Okay.
Long hole.
hole 5 at New London. Which one is longer? Both par 4s.
Holy moly, that's a good one, Trevor.
Tough with the geography of these ones because they both have a lot of
What's
Oh,
funny
you're right,
is
and I did not win the
interesting
geography.
going
I think
on.
I know the roundabout distance of hole 1 at Ivy. I can't think of the roundabout distance of hole 5.
It's not one that we reference
I don't know
much.
the numbers. I don't know about.
You don't really talk
Okay, I
about
think I'm
par
ready.
4 distances
Not a numbers
much.
guy. Not a numbers guy. All right, I think which one?
Ivy is option 1.
Okay.
New London hole 5 was option 2. Which one is longer? You ready?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Ivy.
One.
Yeah, option 1. Sorry, I said it wrong.
Surely we're right.
You are correct.
Yeah, I thought so.
It is
760?
758.
Oh, dang,
Hole
Hunter.
5
You're
at New
good at
London
that.
is
702.
708.
Ah, that's close.
It's pretty
All
dollar.
right, all right.
Okay.
That is pretty good, Hunter. I'm very
Pretty close,
impressed.
pretty
I had
close.
no
I've done a
idea.
lot of videos.
Next
I've
Yeah,
said
done.
a lot of intros at different places.
You have. That
Next
is very
up.
true. I don't know any of them.
We have hole 8 at Maple Hill over the water.
A local
Which
favorite.
E.
tee?
This is the
Bagels.
pro tee that they played on the final
For the
day.
back. For the
Okay.
back.
The
back boy.
and then
Okay.
hole 9 at East Campus. That is the Spider Tree par 4 now. Is what the hole 9
Spider
is.
Tree par 4.
So it is the yeah.
Spider. Yep.
Okay, I think I'm
The
ready.
one, the last one before you come out
yep,
of the woods.
Yep. Not. I haven't. That hole is not very easily eagleable. Like it is eagleable, but I haven't seen anybody eagle it in like years.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Ah, understood.
That's not true.
Like, what is
Okay.
dude talking
Option,
about?
option 1 is Maple Hill. Option 2 is East Campus. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is longer? 3, 2, 1.
Option 1.
You're saying Maple Hill?
I'm a little dyslexic when it comes to the number. I'm saying Maple Hill. Mainly because I think I flipped numbers in my head.
We'll just say the names from now on.
Yeah, I think it'd be
that's
easier.
a good idea.
But I said
East.
He said East. I think it's going to be, I don't know.
Maple Hill is 364 feet. Hole 9 at East
think it's
Campus
380 something.
is 381.
Okay.
I'm such a big boy.
I couldn't remember if I just remember Devin, shout out Devin, our assistant coach at Liberty,
Big
always
Dev.
went a mid, and I feel like whenever I questioned him, I couldn't remember how he worded it, but for some reason it made me think it was like it's only 300 feet. But I couldn't remember it, so I was just like,
it is an S
I just
shot.
knew that Maple Hill was longer than
It
that,
is
so I just
long.
sent that.
It is long. Okay, next up we've got hole 16.
Turns out Devin's just got a big arm.
He does, actually.
He does. Hole 16 at Emporia Country Club. That's the water clear,
Yes,
iconic
okay.
with the wall behind it. Or hole 20 at Camp Hideaway. The final hole.
Oh. I can't think of...
Okay.
I can't.
I think I know which one feels number. I think I know
like
which one feels
literally
longer.
the one over the water that Paul won.
The-
in
yeah, the island
playoff.
one.
The island one.
Yes.
Jedi.
Oh,
The
yeah.
wall
I think
yeah,
I know which
yeah.
one feels longer, but I don't know the distances of these. I've
Okay.
also been wrong every time.
I'm ready.
So.
Okay. So you can just say DDO or Emporia or Hideaway, which is longer. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Emporia. Champions Landing, please.
Yeah, Champions Landing. Emporia is that hole 16 is 320 feet. Hideaway hole 20 is 302.
Oh, we nailed it.
Yeah.
Got it.
That one felt right.
Okay.
Connor's up 2.
He is. So you'd have there's 2 more left. You'd have to get them
Sweet.
both
That's
here.
sweet.
Okay. Next, we have
I'm ready, Trevor.
hole 1 at USDGC
I know of it.
or hole 1 at Sandusky.
Okay.
Yeah. It's tough.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm not quite ready yet.
I'm ready.
I'm not quite ready yet. Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Sandusky. Dang it.
Dang it. I'm sorry, Hunter.
So this one's actually crazy.
Oh, frick.
'Cause you're both wrong. Sandusky is 277. Hole 1 at USDGC is 283. So did not
Okay.
realize it was that far.
It's not that crazy.
I mean, I just thought it was a little bit shorter than
I
that.
was just thinking, I feel like I threw similar power at both. Oh, no, that wouldn't make sense. I said the wrong one then. I was thinking I feel like I throw a similar power, but Sandusky's downhill, so it's got to be longer. Sandusky's
hole one
downhill.
is hole one is also downhill.
but not as
himself.
drastic, I don't think.
Hole one is more downhill.
Yeah,
than
probably it's more downhill.
Sandusky is barely
Yeah.
downhill. Hole 1 at USDGC is very downhill.
It is pretty downhill. Now, the difference is Sandusky, you start up on a platform, where USDGC, it's a gradual downhill, so it just looks more downhill maybe, but they're definitely both downhill.
Hole
I know
one
they're
is
both downhill.
Hole 1
but
is very downhill.
I think I disagree. I think Sandusky's more downhill.
No,
I mean,
it's pretty drastic.
I'm 100% confident.
I
can't say that.
I
I
would-
realize that.
I
absolutely was
agree they're
aggressive.
both downhill,
would
but
say
I think Dusky's more.
I think USDGC
if you-
in my head feels more downhill, but it's tough because Sandusky, you do the entire downhill walk right off the front of the tee pad.
Because you're standing
like-
above that bush.
Because like the
Not quite above
you're not
it.
above it. You have to throw up. You have to throw.
But you don't have
above
to throw very high to get up above
Yeah,
it.
I don't know. I have no idea.
On hole 1, I was on hole 1 pretty recently, and it is very you have to throw down.
Yeah,
to, like,
I know that.
It's
Yeah.
very downhill.
To be fair, yeah, I was at USDGC and I didn't walk. I was never standing on that fairway. So okay.
well, maybe I might
final one for
remember it
funsies. Hole 1 at Maple Hill. This is the par 4 version of that
Okay,
final round.
big long boy.
Or New London, hole 18. These ones are very close in distance.
Wow.
You already won, Con.
Oh,
I just didn't want you to get stressed.
I appreciate that. I was stressed.
It doesn't matter what you say.
I was really stressed.
It doesn't matter what you say.
All right.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
New Hill.
London.
I said Maple Hill. I'm just kidding.
I think it's New
So you
London.
didn't have a real guess.
I didn't really guess, yeah.
It's
Well,
not
they're
New
so
London.
close, I couldn't decide.
It's Maple Hill.
Oh, okay. How close are they?
853. New London hole 18 is 849. Very close.
Wow,
that was
that
a
is
pick 'em.
very-
That was a pick 'em.
853
Good job,
and
Con.
849
Mm-hmm.
is what you said?
Yep.
You would never know. You would never be able to know.
You would
never know.
Those 4 feet matter though.
Yeah,
Really
it just
do.
depends. Was it how the crow flies? Is that what they say, or was it like
As the crow flies, or as the 4-wheeler drives?
Yeah, it depends.
That actually is
Depends how you
that's
measure
very
it.
wise, very wisdom.
We got some Edwin stat highlight of the week here.
Big Ed.
First thing we're going to throw up on the screen here is the 2024 Manufacturers Cup final results. Discmania obviously won. The fun thing to look at here is basically the chart. So you can see Discraft.
Insert chart, Konner.
You can see Discraft like takes a lead around week
I switched to a
5.
black screen
This
so I can
was
see it.
this was during AB's reign, if you will. You see Discraft takes a lead, and then once Discmania took it back, they never really gave it back, but they were neck and neck. But what's fun to watch is just how much they exceeded above the rest of the field. Like if Discraft didn't have an on year this year or didn't have a deep team, Discmania would have won by 300 some points.
Oh yeah,
Which is just crazy.
No, I mean literally from the start they just like go straight up. Just a different line.
Yeah, and then Innova was kind of in a little bit of a battle with DD, but not really. I mean, outside of the top two, you had the middle of Innova, DD, Prodigy, and then everyone else was just in a like rat race towards the bottom.
I think still the most surprising thing to me is MVP just had such a bad season
They did.
competitively.
Yeah,
Sure,
they had a great year sales-wise.
Yeah, they always do fine with sales these days, but competitively, like Eagle just never quite figured it out. I think he'll be okay, but then Simon was just even streaker than before. He obviously had the win, but
Yeah.
and we were kind of like, oh, Simon's gonna do the thing again, but then he just never did. Never got any
And
more.
then Conrad was kind of non-existent a little bit. And Paul Kranz, a lot of people were hyping him up before the season. He didn't really materialize.
Crayola Kranz.
Silva Saarinen, which I think next year we might we can switch back out.
Oh
for
yeah,
the
if
thing.
you throw in
but
the
we can Silva Saarinen, if we throw FPO in, which I think we're going to mix FPO in somewhat. I had to call a phone call with Edwin before the season starts to figure out a new formula. But I think that would make things interesting because then like Latitude would have got a huge bump from Kristen. Discraft would have even had a big bump from Missy.
Yeah, might have helped.
Innova with Henna and Evelina would have had
And
a bump.
Own.
And then MVP with Silva would have had a bump. So it would have made things overall picture a lot more interesting. But this year was just MPO.
I'd love it if he could make us a graph. If we could just have one look at the end of the year graph, if you were to have thrown it, it might be a lot of work.
It might be a lot of work.
But
I don't know.
it would be electric to see.
He's listening, so we might get it. Now, the other thing that this is, I'm not going to show this graph. I'm going to just kind of talk through it, which is the player points and then the percentage total of the team's total. So essentially, you have a player like Ricky Wysocki who had really high points and was a really high percentage of Dynamic Disc's total points. Mm-hmm. And then you have someone like Alden Harris, who's the far opposite of that, who had really low points and was a really low percentage of the team's points. What's interesting here is Discraft has a lot of players that live in pretty high points, but not a big percentage of their team's points because
They have so many.
they have so many good players. And then you have someone like Gannon Burr who had really high points, but because the Discmania team was like pretty deep overall, he was like a little over 50% of the team points. But what's interesting here is he highlighted for us the contracts expiring in 2024. And so if you look, pretty much the teams that are going to suffer the most if they don't re-sign is ThoughtSpace Athletics with James Proctor. He pretty much made up 100% of the team's points. I think he did, actually. And then you have Mason Ford with Mint. I believe this is Jakub Simerod with Latitude. He didn't make up he made up over 50% of their team's points, but not a lot of points. But with Discraft, the big one's AB. He made up the most percentage of Discraft's points, and he had a high percentage point there. And then the Robinson Bros. Combined, they made up pretty much 100%. I can actually look at this. I think they made up 91% of Prodigy's points came from players with expiring contracts. 52% of Discraft's came from players with expiring contracts. And then 96% of DGA's points came from players with expiring contracts.
Yeah. Wow.
So those teams are on the hot seat as far as like
It's a fun graph.
comparing, whereas Discmania, players with expiring contracts made up 1% of their points. So like if Discmania loses Silas Schultz and Casey White, they're fine.
Yeah, I mean, they just re-signed Gannon and Antla, and there you go.
Yeah.
There's your team.
That's a cool stat right there.
And I guess Kyle has years left on his deal. Don't
Kyle,
forget to talk about
Kyle, Antla,
The future's here.
Yeah, but Discrafts is definitely an interesting one because they have AB, Ezra, Andrew Presnell, Corey Ellis. It's actually deeper than that, but those are the ones on this.
Also expiring.
These are the ones that like earned them a lot of points, and like I said, 52% of their performance this year was tied into players that have expiring contracts. Prodigy is basically non-existent without the Robinson brothers, so that's another one to keep an eye on. So, a little fun stat look for you. Shout out to Edwin Stats for providing that for us.
Can I ask you guys a question?
You may.
Have you guys heard the story? This is gonna sound like I'm telling a joke. I'm not telling a joke.
Okay.
But have you guys heard the story about Arnold Palmer and the Saudi Arabian king?
Don't think so. It does sound like a joke.
Sounds like I'm a
Arnold Palmer and a Saudi Arabian king walk into a bar.
So, Arnold Palmer played a golf tournament in Saudi Arabia, and won it. And so the Saudi Arabian king, it still sounds like, I can't make it sound like I'm not telling a joke. I'm not.
No, keep going.
He said like he wanted to give Arnold Palmer a gift for winning the tournament, basically. And Arnold Palmer obviously is a very wealthy man.
Saudi Arabia wealthy though.
True, but wealthy in the way where he's like don't really need a gift. But he was like he basically with our American minds turned it down as a way of respect, to be like, oh no thank you, I don't need anything, but I appreciate it. Well, but to the Saudi Arabian king, that was like insulting.
Yep.
And so, like, as in, like, he wants to give him a gift, like that's just part of their culture. And so then Arnold Palmer saw that and was like, okay, I would love a gift. What about just a golf club? That way, it'd be a good like memento of it or whatever. Thinking it'd be like, he would probably maybe do like a gold golf club or something like that, with engravings or something like that. And so the Saudi Arabian king presented him with. And ended up gifting him with a golf club complete with 36 holes and a clubhouse and all the things like that. I saw that in a book this weekend. I thought that was really funny.
I heard a golf story too this weekend. You're not the only one with golf stories, Con.
I'm sorry.
That's hilarious. It was this was just funny to me. It was I forget who was telling the story, but it was about Sam Snead, and he was showing how, and this works in disc golf too. Tie-in.
Disc Golf Podcast.
He was showing how with a 3-iron, like one club isn't one distance. Mm-hmm. And so he hit like a high fade, a high draw, and then just like a straight shot, and like showed like there was like 25-yard difference between the three. And when he hit the straight shot, it like was 200 yards out and checked up on the green and stopped. And like someone who was watching the clinic was like, how do you get your 3-iron to stop like that? And he goes, I'll show you. And just hit the shot again. And the guy was like, okay, I can see you can do it, but I can't do it. How do you do it? He goes, watch, I'll do it again. And he hit it again. And the guy was just like, I don't think you understand. Like, how are you doing that? He wanted an explanation. And so Sam Snead was like, I'll show you one more time. Because like he wasn't really, how the guy was explaining is like Sam Snead was just, he like treated golf like an art. Like he was an artist. He wasn't a teacher. So like he couldn't explain it. He just had to show you what he was doing. He didn't know how he was doing it. He was just doing it. And so he hit it again and he checked up again. The guy was like, I didn't learn anything from that. Can you please tell me? He goes, how far do you hit your 3-iron, son? And the guy goes, 150. He goes, then why on earth do you want it to stop? That was very funny.
That's really funny.
That's good. Why do you want it to stop? That's funny, dude.
Anyways,
that
was talking golf.
That was talking golf. But hey, it is a good story. Right?
It's a great story.
Oh, here he goes. Watch him. Here he goes. He's about to cook.
If you have your favorite disc, right?
Yeah.
It's not just your 250-foot shot disc.
Oh, you're right.
Power it down, power it up, throw a hyzer flip, throw a turn.
Segment into
whatever.
You can do anything.
Oh no, I would have.
You can make it go left. You can make it go right. You can make it go straight. You can pick up a foundation.
You're an artist.
Conman Shaman.
You're an artist. Let your disc paint the fairway.
Amen, Hunter. Come on, put that on a short.
In the bag time. This week's topic, if you don't know what in the bag is, basically we throw out a topic and we each fill our bag with responses to the topic, and then we throw them out there for you to vote. Voting results: Trevor won last week, so he gets 2 points.
People hate Travis Kelce.
I came in second. I get 1 point. Connor came in third. He gets 0 points.
The order, right?
Trevor gets to choose the order for the topic this week, which is best excuses to miss work so that you can get around in.
Is it like to miss work or like to call out of work?
Exactly, call out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because like miss work, it's easy for me to think of a reason to miss it. It's harder to think of a reason to call out.
Yeah, this isn't really what's going on. You're going to play around a disc golf and you're telling your boss X, Y, or Z.
Good. I just want to make sure that my mind was in the right place.
I'm going to go.
Make sure Trevor doesn't screen peek
first.
Oh, Peens Creeker.
I'm going to go first, and then I'll have.
I don't think anybody's going to
take
any of mine.
Connor goes second, Hunter go third.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and take colonoscopy.
That's a good one.
Because the reason why is because nobody is going to ask how it went or ask for details. So you don't even have to have a good alibi. Just say, yeah, I had a colonoscopy, and then be like, oh, like, sorry. And they're going to feel sympathetic as well.
Yeah.
So it's just a great deflector. I have to get a colonoscopy.
And it can be just as uncomfortable as what happens to you on the course if you have a bad day.
It's true.
Yes, very
So
true.
you might be
very
feeling
true,
the same
Hunter.
sort of things. Yeah.
I am going to. I think that's a very good one, Trevor. Respect to you. I'm going to go ahead and start off with a simple one: jury duty.
Oh,
Love that.
was my
pick.
first pick.
Love
Yeah,
that
because
pick.
this one's great too. Because
Dang it.
now you're not just going to play
You
disc
can't-
golf.
you're not e-
You're
also-
going on a golf
You're not
trip.
allowed to talk about
And
it
that's
either.
the thing is if someone asks you, you'd be
yes.
like, I can't say.
Well, and
Really good
also,
pick, really good
if
pick.
Phenomenal.
you can go on a disc golf trip now too, because it can
It could
take the
take
whole
forever.
week.
Love
yeah.
that.
Yeah. I'm gonna start with the innocent one, which is just, hey, boss, you want to get around in? Just convince your boss to play disc golf with you.
That's true.
That's a good one.
Because
I
then you're
didn't
not
think
even
about that.
missing work.
Make
It's
it
just
work
like,
related. I like that.
Like, yo,
How are you wording that on the thing?
hey, boss, want to get around in?
Okay.
Quotes.
I'm just thinking. I'm just trying to make sure that I know that's the line for how long it can be.
Oh, it can be long.
It can be long. It's just
I
gonna be
can,
really
I can just
small
make the text
text.
smaller and
Okay,
smaller.
The thing about
okay.
the graphic is, it can be long, but people might not read it.
No, I just needed a template there.
My secondary
two
Some of mine are a
one-
little elaborate.
Oh, okay. My second one, because we had to think, we're talking disc golf here, right?
Yeah.
So if I can word this in a way that my boss doesn't know I'm talking disc golf, I think it's an easier sell. So I'm gonna just say I have a meeting on the course tomorrow,
I thought about that one
like
too.
sales meeting.
I had that.
He's gonna think I'm going and like whining and dining the client out on the
He's
golf
gonna think
course.
it's the golf course.
When
yeah.
really my
That makes
meeting is
sense.
with Trevor,
Yeah, I had
and
that
we're
one.
just out on the disc golf course.
Yours are
having fun.
much more
I had
respectable
that one.
than mine are.
Well, I had jury duty. Jury duty was my 101 pick, but you took it from me.
Okay,
I'm
Con.
sorry.
No, it was a
Yeah.
great pick. Is what I'm saying.
One pick for Con.
Okay, so we get 3, right?
Four.
Four. It's a good thing I wrote down 4. I guess I'm using all of them.
It's also a good thing I didn't go
I
second.
like
I was
this
taking
one.
jury duty.
I
from
like
you.
this
You
one.
don't take mine.
This one does require possibly a made-up story ahead of time. You got to really think out for this one.
Okay.
But my phrase is, I need to help my dad with his physical therapy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's all you say.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to play disc golf with my dad.
Yeah. Okay.
My dad's not hurt, but it is good physical
It's good physical
therapy.
that
therapy.
is
Yeah, yeah.
creative.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and take funeral.
Nice.
Another one people probably won't ask about.
Okay.
And
It's really
again-
good if you work a corporate job where people don't care about you because they're not going to dig into that.
No.
Yeah, you just only,
And it was the funeral of your game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then the next
Or,
one I'm
or
going
if
to
you
take
lost a
is
disc out there.
True.
Next one I'm going to take is
I recently lost something close to me.
You can also name it like Old Blue. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Me and Old Blue. Yeah, we go way back.
yeah.
Yeah.
my next pick is going to be you lost your dog in the woods
That literally was one of mine that I was going to write down, but it was in my head.
because now you have an alibi as to why you're in the woods. Pretty common for a dog to wander into the woods.
Yes.
There you go.
You actually did me a favor there, Trevor, because that one was in my head, and I was trying to decide if I wanted to take out one of my other ones for it. So thank you. You
You're
got rid
welcome.
of the decision.
You're
Back to Big
welcome.
Con.
Back to the big con. I like this one a lot, so I'm going to save it for the end.
Okay.
It's a little bit tricky. So this one's not tricky. I'm waiting for a tow truck.
Dang, I had that.
Yep,
I
because
had
it's
that.
perfect. I got my disc
I
in the
had
car.
that. Yep.
You can actually pop a tire if you want to.
I
Tow
had
truck's
written.
gonna
I'd
take
say I had
forever.
written down like car broke down
Yeah.
at the park.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
like
just slash
I'm
your
waiting
tire.
for a tow truck.
Yeah.
I'm just
You
happy
can
to be
literally
next
send
to
a
Peaks
picture.
View. Yeah.
Just like take a tire that like isn't your car's and just shred it to death and just take a picture of it next to your car.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
So I get my final two here. I think the first one into modern day landscape is pretty easy. I'm working from home tomorrow.
yeah.
Oh.
Just like I'm working from home,
But that's
Yeah.
not calling out of work.
but I'm not working.
It's true. He's getting out of work.
Yeah.
True.
Because
It
I'm
is
not
true.
actually working from home.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
it is
But
true.
I'm working from home. I'll be back home from like my whatever,
Yeah.
2 o'clock, like whatever meeting, sure. But like the rest of the day, I'm at the course.
Yeah. Okay.
I have my phone on me. If they call me, sure, I'll pick up.
That is a good point. Yeah, you got your Bluetooth in.
Because I mean, let's be real.
I like
People
that.
who work
your
from
Bluetooth
home,
headset.
people who work from home don't work.
No.
No.
They work a lot on their college football 25 dynasty.
Easy right, boys.
But
Yeah.
and the final one I'm gonna go with is also, I guess, a little bit of a twist here, but it takes some advanced planning.
Okay.
But you have to plan ahead a team building event
Yeah.
for disc golf.
Yeah. Okay.
So your whole team's gonna be out of work because you're going out to the course and getting around in together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like work related. No one can get upset. They
I
know
can't help
exactly
but
where you
feel
are.
like that's not
It also
calling out
is,
of work,
yeah, it is
though.
definitely not calling out
But
of work.
I'll give it
I can
to you.
delete
I'll
it.
give
I
to
have
you.
one
No,
more.
you
I have a different one I can take.
You can have it.
You want me to take the
No,
other
it's
one?
fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. I don't care.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not.
I'm not even.
Over
I'm not even upset.
Yeah.
I'm not even sad.
The people can decide. I'm not going to get contentions over it.
Well, but you're not going to work that day. It's a team building.
You're
You're
right.
also not calling out.
You're right.
You do also have
Technically,
to,
it's a work event.
Yeah.
if you can plan it the right way. Yeah. Now the only downside here is you do have to work. You have to go play with your coworkers. Some people that could be great. Some people that could be
true,
awful.
Yeah.
That's
It's
the
gonna take
downside.
forever.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but you might be able to get 2 or 3 rounds in.
Could.
True.
You could.
That was my final one.
That's that is a good one. My final one is, how do I want to word this? I got a plate stuck to my hand. I super glued a plate to my hand.
What?
But
Super
here's-
glued, or which one do you want me to write?
Okay, say
I don't know if it's gonna matter. I gotta say.
say disc. Say I super glued a disc to my hand.
Okay.
I wanted to say plate. That way you can make it seem like it was just a plate, but it's not much better.
How do you think that's gonna play out?
No, listen. I super glued a disc to my hand. All right, here's the explanation.
Okay, I'm dying to know.
The only way I can get it off is by slinging my arm. I will go somewhere more open so I don't hurt anybody while I do it.
That's never gonna.
So do you want me to write all of that?
No,
Okay.
you're just
I
writing,
super glued a disc to my
I
hand.
super glued a disc to my
Yeah,
hand.
that's
Dang,
not
Con,
gonna
that
hold
might
up
have
in the
just
court of
that might have
law.
just shot you right in the foot there.
That one's not gonna hold up in the court of law.
I just thought it was fun. No, that one was for the silliness because I think it's funny to be like, the only way to get it off is I gotta sling.
But
I
you
gotta
understand, a
sling
lot
my
of people are
arm.
going to vote before they hear what you just said.
No, yeah, I know.
Okay.
No, yeah, I know.
my
I
last,
told Trevor that I pretty much decided that I'm just going for comedic value on the podcast.
Understood.
my last pick is you thought it was a holiday, and then in hindsight, you can just gaslight them to be like, oh, I thought we had off for insert. Every day has
Every
some
day
kind of
does have a holiday.
Oh, I thought we had off for Pancake Day. Like I saw my buddy had off work for that. I thought we had off work for that as well.
That's a good one.
That's true.
Thought it was a
Because your
holiday.
boss calls you and you're like, oh, shoot, I'm on, you know what, I'm hole 16 right now. I'll finish up and get to work right away.
Yeah,
I thought
like-
we had off for,
Yeah, and then because then they have at least a few
I
minutes.
thought we
where
had
like,
off for my cousin's bar mitzvah.
They're like, oh, like were we supposed to have off for that? Like, ooh, like is that? Are we gonna get canceled for working on
then
Columbus
the
Day?
other
Like-
thing is the worst case scenario is like Pancake Day. Your boss is like, when have we ever had off for Pancake Day? He just thinks you're an idiot.
Yeah.
He doesn't think you were playing hooky.
No, you tried.
He just hangs up. He's like,
I had it. It was on my. It
why
was
the
on my.
frick did Trevor think we had off for
Like
Pancake
I
Day?
do. Now I get it. I do have the IHOP calendar. That's probably why it had a big big
Or
lettering.
you could even spin it on and be like whoever your let's say Connor's your manager. You can
He's
be
my
like,
manager.
I swear Connor told me we had off for Pancake Day. Was he wrong? I mean, I
Oh,
can
now
come in.
we're passing blame. I like that. Yeah,
Like, I can come in.
Like,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I'm gonna come in. Like I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. I asked him about it last week. He said we most likely would have off. I didn't hear back. I just went to the course. But yeah, I'm on hole 15 right now. I'll be in like 30 minutes.
No, I'm not even gonna tell him on the course. I'm gonna tell him I was at a pancake place. I'm like
I'm 15
celebrating.
pancakes in.
I'm halfway.
Yeah, he
into
practices. He's a practicing Pancake Day person.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's funny. That's funny.
All right, there's our list. You can head over to our Grip Locked Instagram or on Twitter and get your vote in to determine who wins. And you know, obviously the punishment for who comes in dead last, they have to make 2,020 footers on a live stream, and the prize is the person gets. We're working on the name because we can't do Man of the People because that's Brody, but something like that stamped disc, a commemorative disc for the In the Bag season.
Something like that. Stamped disc. Gonna say something like that.
Something like that.
I pretty
I
much.
got a barbecue stand in my white tee, you know.
All right, Jake Owens in the house.
I pretty much decided after the Travis Kelce situation that I'm just gonna have to be making the putts.
You're
my hope
quitting
is
after
gone.
You quit
one.
after
I know
1
that's
week.
the problem. That's the problem.
That's tough.
You know the other problem
legs?
is that the whole super glue to the hand thing. That was the first one I came up with. That wasn't like digging from the bottom of the barrel. That was the first
A lot of
one I
times the
came
first
you
up
one I
led
come
off
up
with
with.
a great one.
Yeah, a lot of times
yeah.
the first one I come up with, I throw out because that's always the worst one.
with. Yeah.
Unless it's like a
I had
really
a hard
obvious
time.
one.
I had a really hard time thinking of ones for this one.
All right, Silas selects time.
I know what it is.
All right, what is it?
It is. I've been thinking about it for years. It's a Prodigy PA5.
Okay.
Really good guess.
Thank you, Trevor.
Let me get.
And it's not a guess. I know.
Discraft.
Dude, Silas is so nervous right now.
Zone. Just a zone.
He's not nervous. I
don't
don't
think
think
it's
it was
either one.
Discraft. I don't think it was Discraft.
I just can't imagine being in Silas' shoes just then and hearing me name his disc. Like he must be so flustered.
He's actually wearing slippers.
I'm going to go with
What?
the
He is.
end of a
What?
J.
That's not the first time that's been guessed, and I like that guess.
Yeah, none of us got it. I'm looking at Silas's face. We didn't get it.
Oh.
Discmania Mutant.
That actually is a crazy one.
What? Just because I saw the end of the disc and I saw that it was like a thicker molded disc, so like I just got
Mutant. Great
excited.
mid though.
I knew it was like something at least
I should put
related
I
to
should
what
put-
Hunter and I picked. Oh, Silas, is it an overstable approach disc? And I guessed overstable approach disc, so maybe I got a little excited.
I should put a mutant back in my bag.
Before I saw it looked like a Minecraft.
It's a great time.
You did have the mutant in your bag for a while.
It's a good time.
You want to know when you
Because
had
the
the mutant in your bag?
listeners love it.
At Eagles Crossing.
I remember because I barely made it over that water with it.
Yeah.
I also have an announcement to make. I ran a Twitter poll to determine the future of my putting.
Oh,
And
you did that.
The people have spoken. So next year, I will be putting with the worst selling putter of the previous month, the whole next month.
So is December
That's
set up the
fun.
first?
So December, the worst selling putter of December will set up what I putt with in January.
That's fun. I like that.
The only caveat is that there has to have been at least one sold because, like, just to make sure we had it in stock, there was a chance for it to be the worst selling.
Now here's my question.
Because like if we have a really like let's say the Luna was out of stock all month, I feel like it's cheating if I'm like, oh, thank goodness we didn't have inventory on a PA3, so zero
Right.
sold.
Well, here's my question is, if there's a whole bunch, which there will be, tied for last, are you going to just pick from there? I'm fine with either one of these, or are you going to randomize it?
My current plan is to pick, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We'll have to see. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
I like it.
But yeah, because we basically put out a best selling list every month, so I already pulled the data, so I know if I know what the best selling is, I know what the worst selling is. So that way, I'll just pull it up, and that's what I'll pull with the next month.
What the heck is that hoodie?
Find out on Black Friday.
Maybe.
Well, they will find out on Black Friday.
You'll find out whether it exists or not.
It'll exist on Black Friday. It just might not be this exact hoodie I'm wearing. This is a sample. The design
That's
will
very
exist.
cool. I really like the design a lot.
Got a little back too.
Oh, it's that one. I like that a lot.
All right. Talk to you next week.